have such a weird origin story because from the age of about 10, I genuinely felt like I was getting dumber. I used to lie awake at night and wonder what was happening. Everyone used to say, concentrate, Rach, come on, like take this in, make sure that you're concentrating. And I always thought I was, and obviously I was trying to concentrate, but I tried to explain it once where anytime someone would say to me, concentrate, or you need to be taking this in, I would literally zone out. It happens to me now when I'm reading a book. I went through that whole like self-help book phase and business growth book phase, and I'd be like, wow, this is so interesting, I need to remember this. As soon as I said that to myself, for some reason I just stopped taking in information. Now I obviously only a couple of years ago got an ADHD diagnosis and everything starts making more sense. So when I was about 10, the reason that I started panicking that I was getting dumber is I was like in top sets in primary school, and then from secondary school onwards started having like parents' evenings, started like dropping down in sets, and I went from being a really quiet kid in primary school, I was literally mute when I was in like reception, to being so loud. And I think the reason for that was because I fell back on like my friendships and the fact that I was social and that I could like talk my way out of these awkward things. If a teacher, for instance, had asked me a question and I'd like not taken it in, I'd been sat there listening like I'm not doing anything else, but I wouldn't have taken it in and I'd sort of fall back on humour, and like that's probably how I got more confidence. I was just using like chat as a defence mechanism, I think, for not being able to concentrate through no fault of my own, may I add. It wasn't until my ADHD diagnosis and I started going through that, it was actually at the same time that I left my 9 to 5, and remote work has honestly made me feel so much more sane, and like everything makes a lot more sense. I can actually sort of work out my routine following the diagnosis because of remote work. Hey, if you haven't been here before, I am Rach and I left my 9 to 5 in marketing 3 years ago to become an appointment setter, and since have worked in remote sales. I've actually helped over 30 girls get into remote sales through appointment setting, so it's a great time. I do want to use this channel to get a bit personal because I do think there's a lot of people out there that now ADHD is more spoken about, and I didn't even start getting my diagnosis until I was about 24, 25. And it was only because I was at work and I literally had to put on noise cancelling headphones to concentrate and stop me getting involved in any of the chats. And I knew that I just wasn't taking in the information at some points, and it was just horrendous. So now I found like the perfect outlet to help me through this, and I thought I'd just share more about my journey and how it's actually impacted my life making this decision and moving into remote sales. Honestly, the brain that kept me up at night and I kept thinking, oh my god, I'm getting dumber, there's so many strengths in it, and that is exactly how I've been able to live this life of freedom over the last 3 years. It's now honestly one of my biggest assets. I love how I'm wearing glasses in this video because I'm like, yeah, I felt like I was getting dumber, and these actually make me look smart. They're just blue light ones. Paint a picture of what undiagnosed ADHD looked like for me. So the thing is, I actually, not to toot my own horn, I knew I wasn't stupid. I knew that I was trying. It was just the information wasn't going in. Sitting in a room with 30 other kids and a teacher for hours, I just couldn't do it. And the worst part about that was that genuinely no one could see it. I remember my food tech teacher made a joke once about me potentially having ADHD, and I told my parents, and they were like, oh my god, no way, like that's so rude, and for one, and also you definitely don't have it. And then I sort of just put it to the back of my mind. But it's really funny how that interaction sticks with me so much. I remember almost stopping in my tracks, like there's no way. Even when I went to go get my diagnosis, even my parents still didn't believe it, and now obviously we know that I am totally ADHD. It honestly for me just means that every day my mind is everywhere. And that's the thing that not many people talk about with ADHD, is that it's not that you can't think, it's that you can't stop your mind from thinking. It's literally everything all at once, all the time. So like I'll be working and I'll be thinking, wait, I need to do this later, have I done this? Oh my god, do you remember what happened 5 years ago? It's chaos. So like I mentioned, when I was in my 9 to 5, noise cancelling headphones became my go-to. They were literally the only solution that could stop me talking to the tech team about stuff I didn't have a clue about. It was literally my manager slash one of my best friends actually now. She would say, no one speak to Rach. I put my headphones on and I genuinely wouldn't be able to take them off or allowed to take them off until I'd finished the task. God bless her, because I actually would have got probably in a lot of trouble at that job if she didn't think of me doing that, I just brought a new pair of noise cancelling headphones to replace the ones I had in that 9 to 5, and it's so weird to look back at the journey that I've got now, where I can work in CAS, I can afford to be distracted because I've created this life for myself, compared to where I had to get tasks done. I had to do it between the hours of 9 to 5, and yeah. Even now, I genuinely love coaching other girls into remote work, because if I'm leading a coaching call, I know exactly what's happening. I find it way easier to concentrate, but I've invested in mentorships. I'm actually still part of the Free Thinkers community, and that means that I'm going to a few calls a week. And honestly, when I feel myself zone out, the hour-and-a-half session on a Monday, I am struggling. Like, I have to just keep making notes, and I have to normally watch the video back or listen to it when I'm on a walk, just to make sure I'm absorbing as much information as possible and just making sure that I've got the bits that stick out for me. But it really is a struggle. So when I say I know what it feels like to be in a room full of people and feeling like you're struggling, you're getting left behind, I really do. I've been in those rooms. But here's what changed when I got into appointment setting, and I bet the bit that you really are desperate to hear. Remote sales, specifically appointment setting, is one of the best careers for someone with ADHD, and I do not say that lightly. Because the role comes with autonomy, you're working directly with a client, you have someone that is totally dependent on you doing the inputs for your role to generate the outputs for them. For me, when I know that someone is counting on me, that's when I can get tasks done. I also have the ability to switch places literally every 2 hours. I'm moving from cafes, I might be going home, I might be heading out for a walk, but just the autonomy of being able to craft your own schedule depending on how you're feeling and getting in a routine that works for you. You can send voice notes to clients to keep them up to date, you can have a regular one-on-one, whatever works for you. You can actually build your role around that, and that's why the autonomy is so great. I genuinely work the best if I'm on a sun lounger. Like, I know that it sounds naive, and I know that people think I'm lying. If I'm on a sun lounger, lying down, or in the garden, let's say, and it's 18 degrees, if I'm lying down on my phone, I've turned off all notifications on my personal phone, and I'm literally just smashing through my clients' DMs. Like, that is when I'm literally on fire as an appointment setter. Don't get me wrong, I have to sit down. I want to be at like my laptop for the tracking. I do send updates, but having those like hour intervals, like I call them like sprint sessions, so good. But the truth is, just not having to strap myself to my laptop and being able to outperform everyone else by doing so is the best thing ever. Like yesterday, I actually split my day a bit differently. So starting off the day, I did some work with my client, had a catch up, went for a coffee, did a couple of hours at Nomad in Northern Quarter of Manchester. Then walked to Piccadilly whilst I was on a community coaching call with my mentorship. And then I got on the train, was on the community mentorship call for half of it, and then I was appointment setting for my client. And got to my grandparents, had an hour and a half lunch with them, put my phone away. Then I got a taxi from my grandparents to my cousins, which was about 15 minutes, did appointment setting for my client in there. Worked with my cousins with their new puppy for a couple of hours, had dinner, then worked back on the train to Manchester. And like, how on earth is that real life? And everyone is just like, well done for today, brilliant work. Obviously I have to do a lot of content like this. I need to fit that into my schedule a bit better. I think in the mornings I'm better, but it's all about just working out what suits you. Here is honestly the superpower as well when it comes to remote sales and why ADHD is so good. I listened to a podcast with Olivia Atwood recently. Yes, from Love Island. She basically mentioned that sometimes from her ADHD, she'd walk into a room and she'd instantly start imagining a scenario for someone that might be sat quiet in the corner. She's noticed that when she meets someone, she'll literally feel their energy, she'll know exactly what they want, what they're looking for, what they're struggling with, and not by trying to do it, it just happens automatically. I noticed that is something that I definitely do. For example, if I walk into a cafe and I'm giving a coffee order but they're really slammed at the moment, I'm feeling a huge bit of empathy for them, almost like, should I leave, would that be offensive? And just overthinking these different scenarios. It's definitely made me louder as a person because I like for everyone to know that I know how they're feeling. It's also why a lot of people with ADHD, myself included, guilty, will finish off someone's sentences because you just sort of run away with different scenarios and you feel like you know what someone's thinking. So as much as my coaching is incredible when it comes to appointment setting, this isn't something that you can teach from a script. It's that ability to know what someone is currently dealing with and pushing them a step further, so envisioning what the conversation looks like and being able to dive in there and do an insane reply to actually get them to that point of conversion. That same ADHD brain that couldn't sit still in the classroom is actually helping me lead conversations and drive sales to my clients, probably better than people with a normal brain, even though they can probably concentrate more. So it is kind of a win, kind of a win-lose, but either way, I've got ADHD, so for me it's a win-win. So honestly, any girls that sort of recognise anything that I've described in them, I'd love to chat to you about how this could be a really great solution if you are struggling in your 9 to 5, if you are thinking if there's anything that could align better with how you work, what you want to do with work. I would be so happy to hop on that chat with you. It's honestly so not worth feeling frustrated that you're getting left behind. It's not worth feeling frustrated that you aren't able to sit there and lock in for an X amount of hours. It's all about finding exactly what works for you, and whether that is appointment setting or not, it's a conversation that I definitely love to have with people to just help them understand that there is other opportunities other than being chained to a desk. The only thing is, it's down to you to make this change. It's not down to me to beg you, and it's not down to me to find you on the street and be like, come on, let me help you with this. But this conversation, I feel like, could honestly be a game changer. It's something that's really resonated with some of the girls that have joined my community. A different path definitely exists, and for me, remote sales was that path. And I think when it comes to remote sales, and the reason that I am just an appointment setting coach and haven't expanded into closing or anything, is because the autonomy of being able to go out on my phone, to be able to work from my phone at different times, rather than have set calls in a computer in a laptop, has been game changing. And I think that's really my best practice for how I work, is on the go, on the move, and that's sort of the habits that I want to bring it into my community for them to take advantage of. It really did give me freedom, flexibility, and for the first time in my life it felt like my brain was working with me and not against me. That being said, if you're thinking, oh my god, remote sales isn't for you, but you have ADHD and you're curious about how this has worked out for me, then definitely follow along to this channel, because it is something that I will be speaking more about. And also, if you're an online business owner or a coach, then feel free to follow along, feel free to reach out. I've got amazing appointment setters in my community at the moment, and I would love to facilitate an introduction for you. Even the ones without ADHD, I've taught them to lead with empathy, and that is everything that you need to get these leads from a point of curiosity to conversion. I've left all the links below in my description, and I cannot wait to hear from you. But until next time, and hope everyone has a good weekend. I'll see you in the next one.